why I travel alone as an extrovert. Now, this video is all about my absolute passion and adoration that I have for solo travel, solo hiking, and solo adventures, and how that's really been cultivated over the last 3 summers. And in order to explain this in full, I'm gonna have to go back a little bit. So 2018, I decided that I was gonna head to Southeast Asia on the ultimate adventure of my life. And to this day, this has still been the best trip that I've ever done. And that was to do 2.5 months through Southeast Asia. But the only caveat was I was gonna do 9 out of the 10 weeks entirely by myself on the other side of the world with no one else around me that I could possibly know. And this was the first time that I was actually alone and actually outside of my house for that long of a time. And it was the first time that I really was able to cultivate independence. And that is something that I don't think can be understated about solo travel. Now, this meant that I was able to travel through Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia, and even Western Australia and Perth entirely by myself. And then the following year, I did it once more through Peru, Croatia, Denmark, and Amsterdam. Today, in 2020, solo travel doesn't necessarily mean that I hop on a plane and go to the other side of the planet by myself, but what it does mean is that oftentimes I will go explore the nature and the areas that are around me and go entirely by myself. I will often go on solo adventures, solo hikes, and different solo excursions, and it is wonderful. Now, here's the thing that might be confusing. As a guy that is extremely extroverted, that always wants to be surrounded by people, that gets his energy by having conversations, by meeting new individuals, and by really connecting with others, why is solo travel so appealing to me? You would think that I would love to travel in groups and with friends, and that's not to say that I don't, but there is something truly unique about solo travel, and here are the things that I love most about it. The first thing that I want to talk about is that when I go to places alone, it enables me to have all the time in the world to create. I simply put, I have more time to make things. As a videographer and photographer, this means that I get to stay in locations a little bit longer. It means that I get to take my time and get my shots. It means that I really get to go at my own pace, and that is certainly a luxury that is very addictive. The second thing about being on my own that I absolutely adore is having an entirely flexible schedule, and I get to be the god of my own calendar. I get to decide where I'm going, when I'm going, if I sleep in, if I wake up early or whatever. I am tied to no one and nothing, and that is extremely liberating. I know it sounds a little bit selfish, but to be honest, solo travel, it is a bit of a selfish endeavor, but it's doing so in the way of self-discovery and fulfillment. And for me, just having that schedule and being able to have that ultimate freedom is something that is very hard to find otherwise. The third thing I want to talk about is that alone time equals discovery time. And this is something that is so important, because the more time that you spend alone by yourself, especially when you go weeks and months without other people that you know, and you're occasionally meeting new strangers and then parting your ways, things can be very lonely. But it's in that alone time that you really begin to reflect, what are the things that I really want in my life? Who is the man that I want to become? Or if you're watching this, who is the woman or X, Y, and Z that I want to become? What are the things that I want to accomplish? What are the things that really matter to me? How silly were those little problems that I had back in the day? You realize that you start to dive so deeply into who you are and why you are who you are, and then you focus a lot on who you want to become, because realistically, the only person you have to talk to is you, and you'd be surprised at how great those conversations can be. The fourth thing that I want to talk about are the mental benefits. The mental benefits of just going on a solo hike without the expectation of being with somebody, and with actually just having the opportunity and the chance to enjoy nature with you and yourself and your thoughts, and taking that alone time and allowing yourself to really just become your own best friend. That's the ultimate form of self-care that I can think of, and every time that I do a solo mission, it's not something, if I'm doing locally, I'll do all the time, but I always feel happy and fulfilled, and I feel like my cup is full. And there's nothing in the world that I can recommend more than that. The fifth thing that I want to talk about is the confidence boost that you get from being on your own, and the reason why it creates an leverages so much confidence is because when you can realize that you can become your own best friend, you can enjoy your own company, that you're not dependent on other people for happiness, for fulfillment, or for any other need that you can possibly think of, you genuinely feel incredible. And that sort of confidence carries over into everything that you do after that. And solo travel, initially, that's what it really did to me. It really, really changed my life and made me such a confident person, and it carries over into every single activity and day that I carry on. And when I finish a solo hike, especially the local ones, I really, really, really feel in tune with myself. And that's when you feel like you can tackle just about any project or problem that is thrown your way. The sixth thing that I've realized from solo travel, solo adventures, and just being on my own as an extrovert is that somehow it's when I'm happiest. I'm genuinely so happy when I have an incredible experience by myself, because I know I put all the effort in to get there by myself. I put all the effort into doing the research to go to the other side of the world just for me. And I didn't do it to impress anybody. I didn't do it to, meet somebody there. I did that because that was the experience that I thought of up here, I dreamed of, and I wanted to make a reality. And I actually did it. And I did it entirely on my own accord, with my own free thinking, my own free will. And that in itself is the ultimate high. Knowing that you are in complete control of your schedule, complete control of your F-ups, complete control of just about everything. Everything that could possibly go wrong is your fault, and it's the ultimate source of accountability. And conquering that is an obstacle that is just so beautiful. And the seventh thing that I think is most important is that you learn to be alone without being lonely. And that is a skill that I don't think is taught in school, and I want to emphasize that it is a skill. It's a skill and it's a practice on being with yourself and realizing that I can go to the other side of the world or downtown or anywhere else, or I can eat at a restaurant or watch a movie by myself. And just because I'm by myself doesn't mean that I should feel like I should put judgment upon me. It doesn't mean that I don't have friends. It doesn't mean that I don't have people that want to spend time with me. What it means is that I am comfortable. I am confident in being on my own. And that is something that solo travel in 2018 really gifted me with. And being able to be alone without being lonely is genuinely one of the most heartwarming things that I can possibly think of. And so even though I may be an extrovert and that I love groups, I love hanging out with all my homies, I love being with the crew, I love meeting new people every single day, it's quite funny to me that I often feel at my best when I just have some time with me. And that's taken a lot of effort to get there. I was not always the type of person that wanted to do things alone. In fact, it was only a couple years ago that I couldn't imagine myself going to the other side of the planet, let alone traveling, period, without another person. And when I realized that to do the things that I wanted to do truly, and to experience the cultures and the people and the destinations that I wanted to go on, I had to go alone. Because a lot of my friends, their schedules just didn't line up, or for whatever reason, and I made that commitment, and it truly changed my life. And I've carried that solo travel mentality with me ever since. And I try to do this as often as I can. Now, that's not to say that solo travel, solo adventures, solo hikes, and solo excursions, and just things by yourself don't come at a cost. Yes, loneliness is inevitable. And even though I was just talking about how you don't necessarily have to feel lonely when you are alone, over an extended period of time, that is totally normal and that is okay. On top of that, there are many safety concerns that you do have to be careful with when you go to places by yourself. And I won't get into that in this video. In fact, I will make a separate video in a couple weeks entirely about that topic. But being on your own is one of the most beautiful ways to discover who you truly want to become, the things that you want to do, and it gives you the best opportunity to have the ultimate sense of freedom and liberty, and the ultimate chance to grow your confidence, improve your mental well-being, and just honestly, I think it helps you become just a bit of a better person. And so if you're thinking about going somewhere alone, whether that's a movie, a hike, or a destination, I highly encourage you to do so, and I can guarantee that it will change you in some way. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoy talking about solo travel and all these things, as you can probably tell, and I I want to say, if this is your first video, I hope you will subscribe, as I will be coming out with new videos every single Friday, whether it's about travel, adventures, tips and tricks of different things that I will bring up every single week. And you can check out the rest of the videos that I put up on this channel as well. Definitely check me out on Instagram and TikTok just to see more behind the scenes of all the things that I do every single day. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, peace and goodbye. Boom.